Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to a new episode of the Habibis. 3 Arab game devs drinking good Arab tea. That was one too many Arabs. Anyway, my name is Rami. I'm the host for this episode.
I'm Fawzi Mesmar.
And I'm Osama Dorius.
Wow, Rami
almost
really
got
went
that
off
right.
script this time.
Just really added an extra Arab in there.
You're channeling me. If you ask me, there's not enough Arabs in there. You only had 2. There's 3 of us.
Where's the third one?
Just add it to the end. Just say Arab.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Habibis, an Arab podcast featuring 3 Arab game
Arab developers drinking 3 Arab teas.
There we go. That's
1 Arab tea. That's 2 Arab teas. That's 3 Arab teas. They can fit 6 Arab into the entrance.
If you just count 2 other podcasts now, just have 3
if you
Arab
count
podcasts.
each tea individually.
3 game developers drinking good Arab teas. That actually doesn't work in Arabic. Let's not. No.
I don't think that's a good move. Let's keep it PG.
Anyway, hi.
Hi. Hi, Osama. How are you? Oh, wait. No, it's Rami this time.
Oh, no. Chaos. See what you did, Rami?
I just, it was a really good intro, I think.
This is on you.
Absolutely nailed it. No, but how are you all doing? How are things? What have you all been up to?
I'm doing amazing. I'm on a high. Can I talk about my high a little bit?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
So I just came back from a 3-day game design retreat where a whole bunch of game designers, mostly from Montreal, but also from around not Montreal, came together to do the equivalent of a game jam, except instead of making games, we wrote white papers on interesting game design topics.
Ooh, fun.
Huh.
So we had a blast. We basically showed up, got into little groups. Well, before that, decided on which topics we wanted to talk about, got into groups, had discussions, but the groups were kind of fluid. So we were able to get up and go walk and listen to some other really smart game designers talk about really smart things. And I've missed design stuff so much that for me, it was an incredibly, not just fulfilling, but emotional moment where I'm like, hey, these are my peers and I'm talking to them. And, I could hold my own again after all this time. And so it was really great on a personal level, but everyone appreciated it. They're already asking for the next iteration. So super excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Somebody meant to tell me that the game designers equivalent of game jam is that all the game designers got together and they started writing design docs. Is that what it is?
Who would have
writing
seen
games
that
or just writing documents?
They're a little less useful than design docs because they don't become games afterwards. They're just thoughts on game design.
Less useful than design docs? Is there such a thing?
Yeah, probably.
Osama just found the evidence. No, but that sounds really good, Osama.
That sounds like a lot of fun. How many people showed up?
We were 30 people. Just
30. Wow.
That's
cool.
32.
I forget that Montreal has a really big game development scene where you can just do things like that. I'm sitting here in the Netherlands with all 11 game developers.
Oh, no. Yeah, we actually had to cap it at that because otherwise we would have been way too much. And there's a formula. Basically, there was another similar event that used to happen, ran for 21 years. It was called Project Horseshoe. I'm not sure if either of you have heard of it.
I've heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
So they've tried different iterations and they landed on a number that's between 30 and 40. More than that, and it kind of falls apart. It's too big. Less than that, and it's kind of isn't really productive. So we're kind of standing on the shoulder of giants, as they say, because after COVID, Project Horseshoe ceased to exist. So we're like, what would it look like to have a mostly local version of that? But yeah, we could have, as you mentioned, Montreal is huge as a game dev scene, and there are hundreds of game designers. We could have probably went much bigger, but The best thing about this is also the worst. It's good that it's exclusive and you could choose who's there, so you can make sure the place is comfortable and safe. But exclusive kind of sucks because that means other people have less access to the thing as well. So it's an unsolvable problem, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah, but like you need to control the size, otherwise,
Yeah,
like you wouldn't be able to have those discussions.
Yeah.
exactly.
But that sounds pretty cool. It sounds like like you need a chapter of something like this in every city,
Yes, agreed. I would absolutely encourage every city to start one, and the
like a
Netherlands
game
maybe to
design
merge
guild.
with. Yeah, absolutely. Something like that would be good.
Yeah, we have one of those in the Netherlands. Kind of similar, but it's also like it's not just focused on design. The scene is not large enough in the country to do something like that for just designers. Like I don't
Mm,
think there would be space for that. So we have like indie get-togethers where indies show off their work and talk about their
mm.
design and their programming and their business. But I think to do something like that, you need to be in a hub city like Stockholm or Montreal or like any of those places. But
But it's also possible to host it somewhere and have people travel to it because it's kind of we're there for days anyway. So if you let's say you host it in Germany and then people from other countries neighboring Germany go there once a year, that could work too. You definitely have enough people to
in
fill that
Europe,
30 round.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you could do that, but then it'll just end up being again in like a place where there's already a lot of game developers.
true. That's true. So not an easy problem to solve. There are a
No.
lot of
That sounds
problems
like
within that.
fun though.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
sounds like fun. I'd be super up for one of those.
If there's like a global, like like Dark Brotherhood kind of thing, there's like a guild in every like hub cities, and they communicate and they send each other white papers of design
Just like
docs.
the sneakiest white papers. This is what Assassin's Creed is going to be about, right,
Oh
Fawzi? I know
no!
you can't talk about it, but that's what Assassin's Creed Mirage is.
Assassin's Creed game designers is like the
Oh
I don't know
no!
probably the worst one to be made.
No, that's what the game is. That's what actually where it's going. Like
Oh no!
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining now Assassin's Creed Mirage, and then there's secretly still future parts, but then the future parts are just getting in a design get together with Osama and then writing documents.
Imagine if if the protagonist is a game designer, then that's parkour out the window. Like you can barely walk, let alone like climb window walls
You
and stuff.
oh no!
You
I
want to
mean,
ask a
you're
game
right.
designer to do sports? Are you crazy?
Quick time event where it's just you sitting in a meeting.
Press F to add a paragraph.
Yeah.
Press F to unmute.
That would actually be a pretty hard game.
Oh no!
I mean, like every branch of game development would effectively be that. It's like
Yeah.
press F to add polygon,
Yeah,
press F to write code, then press F again to fix bug.
that's the wrong order.
Hold F to solve bug.
Press F to be a producer exasperated at the team.
to herd cats.
And then, but the only exception is the QA. If you're QA, you just have to find a bug in the game and actually like submit it to the
So that's the
development
fun
team.
mode, VQA, where there's really gameplay.
Yep.
What was the highlight topic for you, Osama, on your retreat?
It was
What
the
was
one
the topic
actually.
that you thought was like super captivating for you?
It's the one actually. The group that I joined was visualizing systems and about all the different methods that you could visualize systems in order for depending on your audience, how to show them like how systems converge or how they relate to each other, and to explain
Right.
it either to stakeholders or to explain it to your team so they could action it. So it was very interesting seeing a whole bunch of people come together and say, well, I've made a doc like this, let me recreate it for you without the NDA information. So you could see my thought process of how to communicate this and going back and forth and coming up with rules. If you're going to visualize a system, what are the first things that you have to consider? How would you approach it? And what could the end results look like? So that was my favorite by far.
Like just verb noun maps and other like ways of representing like
Exactly.
design.
But specifically systems. Because
Yeah,
there are different like facets of design. It's
of course.
specifically systems and how they relate with each other.
Yeah. So a verb noun map would be the one that I've been taught, but like could be anything, right?
It could be, exactly. It depends on the kind of system, and it depends on the audience, and it depends on. We actually came up with an acronym. for like what do you do?
Oh no, you came up with an acronym. I can't wait. I can't wait for the dad joke that's in here.
It's Habibi.
Oh, no. You know what? I'm not going to talk about the acronym anymore. Y'all just, I don't have any desire. The acronym is PAUSE. So if you're going to write a doc, you have to pause. So what is the purpose of the doc? Who's the audience? What is the usage? What's the scope? And what is the emphasis? So if you have those things decided from the beginning, you're able to create either a living document, because that's how long it needs to last, or a one-shot throwaway, and like it'll help you focus on which data, because it's impossible to have one that will serve every, like that's what we landed on really quickly. It's impossible to have one visualization method that will serve every situation. And we kept trying. We're like, no, that's impossible. We couldn't find a solution. So with that in mind, we're able to create, some rules that you could follow to figure out which one is better from the beginning.
I would have thought it would be Blueprint.
Right. Acronym?
The visual scripting language.
No, not visual scripting language. It's visualization of systems.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
It does.
Cool.
Pause.
Pause. Yeah.
I'm really trying to figure out what to do with the last A here. I need a good word with an A. I'm just stuck.
Oh no.
So far I have outstanding system annotation mapping, and I just need something else to make that final A work, so you can call it Osama.
Oh no.
I'm just
association.
Yeah. Agreement. There we go. Much better.
I really appreciate the thought. I will not be going with that acronym.
Okay. Well, I'll just convince everybody else to go with that acronym, because I think I've got the reach to make that happen.
I did this to myself.
Rami will do his own white paper, and I'll send that over.
The white paper is just like, read the white paper on pause and just call it this in the future. That's it. Line white paper. Very accessible white
shortage
paper.
White paper stub ever. Love it.
No, that sounds amazing. I'm super jealous.
Same.
Systems design, always a fascination, and stuff like this, visualizing it is just so helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so valuable.
I really hope that this kind of thing picks up steam, so that everyone has access to it, or all designers have access to it.
Right.
If you want to talk about it offline, about how we set it up and everything, let me know. I'd be more than happy to divulge all that.
Yeah, sure.
In case you're all free and don't have a million things to do.
I mean, I do have a million things to do, but also that sounds exactly like the stuff I would be interested in either way. Maybe we can have some time to talk about it. I don't know, sometime somewhere. I don't know.
1,000,001.
And if the white paper ever becomes available, we'll just mention it on the show as well.
That's amazing. I'd love that. Thank you.
Yeah. No, that would be awesome. This is super helpful.
Awesome.
Cool.
The famous Osama method.
Yeah, the Osama method.
No.
The Osama.
Okay, you two need to pause with that, please.
Nailed it.
Perfect.
Okay. All right, Fawzi, what is your highlight?
I was playing a bunch of video games.
Nice. That's a highlight.
A bunch of them. I'm going to... So, one of the highlights, I played the Return of Monkey Island the second it came out.
Yeah,
I
can imagine.
Amazing.
And this is not just a weekly highlight. It could be one of my highlights of the year.
Wow.
I would say.
I mean, this is a highlight of 2 decades.
Yeah. Oh my God, this game is so good. And what an amazing celebration of a stellar franchise.
Yep.
Downloaded it the second it came out. I started playing it. So for those who don't know, I think it came out at the time of recording this yesterday, September 19th. It's the latest installment of the adventure game, point-and-click adventure game, Monkey Island. I don't know, how long has it been since the last Monkey Island?
I don't know, but
years?
Secret of Monkey Island is 32 years old now. I think it's from 2 years after I was born, so that's 1990.
Secret of Monkey Island. Yeah,
Secret of Monkey Island is from 1990.
Because I always confuse the titles, because Escape of Monkey Island was the fourth one.
Right.
Yeah.
There was Secret of Monkey Island. There was Monkey Island and Monkey Island 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's also Tales of Monkey Island, which I think was in 2009.
Tales
I,
of Monkey Island.
I think that was the most
That's right.
recent one.
Yeah, that's from Telltale, right?
Well,
I think so.
Yeah. So there was a Telltale Monkey Island, and then there was a long break, and then there's this one.
Yeah,
And
this is
like
Return to Monkey Island, right?
this is Return to Monkey Island, and it like the title says it all. Like you're back to the franchise, you're back to like all your favorite characters, and it calls out every. So like if you've never played a Monkey Island game before, there's like a little thing that you can watch to like catch you up,
Right.
Mm.
and you can still play the game and enjoy it as if you're like witnessing these characters and these events for the first time. Though
Mhm.
that there's a lot of like obvious nods and references to the past.
Yeah.
I
But
would
if
expect so. Yeah.
yeah, if you're a returning fan, like there's so much fan service for you. Like you will feel so happy to see a lot of returning characters, a lot of returning themes. The voice actor of Guybrush Threepwood is in the game, so
Wow. As
he
Guybrush Threepwood?
as Guybrush Threepwood. So he
Wow.
retired from voice acting and went to pursue a career in I think he was like a chef or something
Oh, wow.
for like a good decade or more, and then he came back for this game.
I mean, I would
So
too.
it really feel like, honestly, the original creators of the game, it's like the band is back together,
Yep.
Mm.
and they're making this game with the voice acting, with the music is so good, and again, it's everything that you'd expect from a classic Monkey Island adventure with some modernized twists. So like you can choose difficulty for the type of puzzle experience that you have.
Okay.
I think that was already possible in the old ones, wasn't it?
I'm
I'm
not
sure for
sure.
all
if
of
it was-
them.
No, yeah, I remember somebody pointing it out recently. So,
Yeah, could
but
be.
yeah, no, I mean it's cool. Yeah, sorry.
I confuse which one is which at this point. So yeah,
Yeah.
but
They're all merged into one
30
mega
years
story.
ago,
Yeah,
like I don't
yeah.
remember.
there's a lot of these games.
Yeah.
But like at some point, for example, you get an item that's a hint book.
Mm.
So in case you get stuck on a puzzle, you can refer to this, and like the character that gives you the hint book tells you, don't overuse it, otherwise it's gonna spoil your adventure.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
like it's kind of like the game knows one of the problems with the adventure game
It's getting
mechanics.
stuck, right? And
Yeah, it's getting stuck, not knowing what you wanted to do, or like what am I supposed to do, or which item am I supposed to look at.
Yeah.
So they give you the hint system. There is also like a shortcut button that you can click on to highlight all the interactables on the screen, so you don't have to go pixel hunting like or problems with traditional adventure games. You can, and I know a lot of adventure games did that, but they have it in this game where you can like double click and you can move quicker,
Mhm.
Hmm.
so that when you're moving across the scenes, you can move faster in different directions. So like it's as far as adventure games does, it's very classic, but it's also very modern in its design. It's not there's no pain points as you play in this game.
Mhm.
It's
That's
just so
amazing.
it's incredibly charming still. That was what I like, that's what I want. And
Yeah,
I was a little worried because like getting the band back together has two outcomes, right? Either it's amazing again,
yeah,
or you just kind of realize that it wasn't as good as your memory is.
yeah.
Mhm.
That's true. It's kind of
And
like that one hit wonder going on their 23rd farewell tour. You go like, oh no, that's not
yeah,
that's not what I wanted.
yeah.
Exactly.
But this isn't that.
This isn't that.
It's just genuinely very, very good.
Yeah,
Is it like
the
literally a
writing
point and
is
click?
hysterical. It's
Oh, yeah?
literally point and click.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm playing it on Steam, and I know it's out on Switch as well. So I don't know how it controls on the Switch,
Mhm.
but I have other friends who are playing it on the Switch. They say it runs like a dream and it looks gorgeous.
Oh yeah, no, it's super good.
Amazing.
I'm playing on Switch. It's good.
How does it
Okay.
control then, Rami? Do you move a cursor on screen?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So it's point and
But, like-
click in both.
obviously there's also touch, but
Yeah.
it's a Switch.
Did either of you try it on Steam Deck?
Not me yet.
I don't travel with my Steam Deck anymore, sadly.
It's
Yeah.
okay. I get it. But
I'm
it's the
sorry.
primary way I play PC games these days. So we're just
It just
curious.
doesn't run Destiny very well, so it's useless to me.
I get you.
I wanted to play it on the couch last night, so I hooked up my laptop to the TV via HDMI, and then I hooked up my laptop with a Bluetooth mouse and put it on my lap, and I just played for 3 hours,
Amazing.
and that worked okay. So
Well, I just looked it up, and apparently it works really well on Steam Deck.
yeah,
It's
that
similar
wouldn't surprise
with the
me. I think
Switch.
it'll be right at home on that thing.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
The writing is genuinely funny, and it's like exactly how you remember the series. The trademark sense of humor is there.
Mhm.
The characters are charming, memorable, original in every way, and it really makes it's so difficult for video games to be funny, and this game made me laugh a bunch of times.
Wow. Okay, I gotta see this.
Yeah,
I can't wait to play it.
every 5 to 10 minutes, I'm talking to a character, and it's making me chuckle a little bit. The puzzle design is clever. There isn't that, the back in the day, some of that puzzle design was a bit too crazy.
Yeah, like you could not have guessed that unless you were on the
yeah,
dev team. There was no
you
way.
needed
Type
to
thing.
make a bunch of leaps, to
Yeah.
to get to that thread of logic. But
Hmm.
that one, it kind of makes sense, from the beginning. And when you figure it out, you feel the right amount of I'm
Yeah.
smart figuring that one out.
I don't think I've ever finished a Monkey Island game, but I'm pretty sure I started all of them. It's always the
Yeah,
same process. You get stuck on something, and then you stop,
yeah.
which is a
th-
shame. Yeah, you
This
always
game
have
makes
to
sure
read
that
the
you don't
story
get stuck.
afterwards.
Right. You
Great.
can finish this one, I think.
I think
Like
it'll be the first one I finish. I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
it.
I think I never finished any either, and then just much later looked up videos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
No,
makes
I think
sense.
I finished all of them. I was always been a fan of the series, and as a fan of the series, this delivered in
Yeah,
Amazing.
every
you were
single
just
way.
smarter than me, I think.
Yeah, definitely
I
smarter than
always
me.
got stuck and then just gave up.
I
Yeah, I have no
probably looked it
patience.
up back then, so I don't think it's with intelligence or
You're
anything I have
smart
to
enough
say.
to look it up. Let's just land there. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, the music is so charming. It's perfect. It's pirate music, and but it's quirky pirate music, and it fits the different scenes that you're in the game. That feels really good. One thing I want to also mention that I really appreciate about this game is that I think some of the older games didn't do it in the same way. As you're trying with puzzles, sometimes you grab an item and you go oh, this should work on this thing, and then you
Mm,
try it out. In the previous game, if that wasn't the solution, then the character will give you just that it's not working blurb, whatever
mhm.
that is. Oh,
Hmm.
not that. Oh, forget about it, or something a generic bark. Whereas in this game, the game will acknowledge that that's a good idea, but I can't do it because of this reason.
Oh, okay, that's good.
So when you try the wrong item for the puzzle, but the item kind of makes sense, it will tell you.
Hmm.
It'll tell you, oh, no, my knife is new. I don't want to ruin it on that thing, or
That's good feedback.
I can't fit through the door if I carry this stick with me, or something like that.
Okay, that's great. I like that. That's a
So
really good addition.
That's a lot
it's
of writing.
Yeah.
it's a lot of writing, but every single time it feels like the game designer just got got up, gave me a high five, and then went back into the TV.
Right. Yeah, it's super
So
charming. The writing is so charming. It's really well done. I haven't gone that far, but it just the start is very, very hopeful. The art is beautiful.
oof.
Like
Oh, the
Fawzi
art
was
is so
saying,
nice.
music is really good. So
That's amazing.
There was some controversy on the art style, I think, when this game was announced. I
there was
I don't know.
controversy in the games industry.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
let me rephrase that. There was a bunch of people upset over something. Oh wait,
Yes.
that's also
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. Somebody made a video game. Anyway, the internet was angry.
Yeah, but the art style is terrific.
Yeah, I love it.
It's 2D looking 3D. It's original. It's
Yeah.
artistic.
And it still feels like it
Yeah.
fits. That's
Hmm.
the
Yeah,
more important part,
Hmm.
right?
it's still
Like
within the themes of the franchise, but still moving it forward.
exactly. I love it. I'm a
Spe-
big fan, and I didn't understand the controversy when it was going down. People, even within, people were just upset and they wanted different art styles. Nobody was even agreeing on what they
right.
wanted. They were
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
unhappy with what was happening.
Speak. Speaking of being unhappy with what's happening, what did you all see the big news this week or last
Wh-
week? By the time this
wh-
comes out,
which big news?
the leaks,
Oh yes, oh
Yeah.
yes.
that
The
was
source of the
quite
leaks.
something.
Yeah,
Leaks are absolutely terrible.
They're
yeah,
so bad.
yeah. They hurt
They
so
But
just
bad.
nobody benefits from them in any. Just nobody is better off after a leak. Not
Yeah,
the
some people
audience.
get clicks, I guess, but that's it.
Yeah,
that's
some
it.
outrage folks like looking for like outrage, but that's about it. It was so sad because clearly like they're in development. They probably hit their stride pretty well. Like, you look at some of the stuff that was out there being reported on, and it's like, oh come on, this is just under development, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, like when somebody leaks something or like, the leaks are getting reported on, you basically rob a team of a moment that they've been working years on. And
Mhm,
like they've been working on that moment, like, to surprise and delight in the best possible way.
mhm.
And then somebody like, leaks a crappy screenshot that is out of context and like takes the takes the narrative in a totally different direction, open space for like rumors and speculation and just outright wrong narratives about what the
Right.
game is all about.
And
The
those
the pro-
narratives become truth, and those truths then don't
exactly.
match up with the reality, and then that becomes it's just a mess.
The biggest
Yeah.
problem is that the audience doesn't have the literacy to understand what phase of the production that is and to be able to abstract it and figure out how it's going to improve. And they're like, all of that creates a big mess where they think they want to see and know beforehand, but they're not able to get that and see something like and project what it could be.
Yeah.
It's not their fault. That's just we haven't done the work to be able to
Right. We
help them
also
get
haven't
there.
had the context though, right? Like
Exactly.
because we can't just be open. Like I tried, and like the amount of
No, you
anger you
can't.
get, yeah, it's just a lot.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
It just
Hollywood doesn't
makes
help.
people make, makes people hostile towards developers
Yeah.
Yeah.
on completely unfounded reasons.
Yep.
Like, like there's leaked footage, like you don't even know what that footage is even about, and now you go like, oh, they're making this game about that, or like, oh, this game doesn't look as good as I want it to be, and like
The
you're
funniest
you're
one
angry
was
over an unfounded narrative that is now just random.
the funniest comment that I kept seeing repeated is this looks unfinished. It is unfinished. Oh, this is not a trailer. This is a leak. Yes, it is unfinished. What are you
Yeah.
expecting? I was shocked, but I mean that's the level that's what we're dealing with. So
One of the comments that really upset me is that some people would say, "Oh, this has been going on for a long time. Why didn't they just announce it already?" And you go like, "Well, if you do announce it early, then you gotta get the comments of why don't they release it already, or why is it in
exactly.
development hell, or how long is it to let like there's a reason like it
there's no there's no winning play. Like the
there's no
winning
winning
play
play.
is the play that we tend to do, which is when you feel confident in the game, when you have the narrative, when you know how you want to release it, when you want to release it, sort of like vaguely, you announce it, you give a soft target for the release, and then you work towards that.
Exactly.
That's the playbook. And the reason it's the playbook is because it's minimized outrage, it's clearly set expectations, and make sure that we can deliver what we say.
There's a lot
Yeah.
of data to back that. We have years of trying different things, and more or less, the companies have landed on similar timelines for a reason, right? And people still get it wrong sometimes, but overall, it's much better than it used to be, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, and
trending to
like
better.
this just makes everything so much more difficult for us. Like we already have to jump through so many hoops of security and secrecy and NDAs and what we can talk about and what we can't talk about. And every time one of these things happen, it just makes those procedures even more complex.
Yep.
That is to like if I just discount how demoralizing this is for the team. Like especially when the narrative goes sideways, the team gets demoralized quite a bit.
Yeah,
Because
It's
you
true.
rob them of their moment, but also you like there are people now either sending them hate, telling them, giving them unwarranted feedback. Like all of a sudden you feel like this moment that I've been working on to surprise our players with now is gone, and that's a big issue.
It's a
yeah,
heartbreaking situation.
yeah, and a lot got leaked, not just images, but like all
Source code.
sorts of stuff, and
Yeah.
that's really not good, especially not for a game that's probably also going to be multiplayer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having some of those workings out there just is like I don't know if you can still put that code out there when people already
Exactly.
kind of know the way things are handled in the back end. So
Yeah.
it's just a mess.
I was just gonna say this is the kind of thing that can get a project canceled legitimately, and
Right.
hopefully that it won't come to that. But it's real. It's possible.
And it's just so much of that happened in the same week. It wasn't just like the Rockstar stuff. There was
Right.
Diablo, I think, at the same
Yeah.
week.
I
Yeah.
think Assassin's Creed had some stuff leaked.
Yeah,
The
yeah, it
titles.
was the lineup of the titles of some of the game,
Yep.
including Mirage, leaked
They
before.
caught that guy.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
did. Well,
Yeah.
he outed himself, kind
he
of.
Right.
outed
Well, I
himself.
mean, they caught him
Yeah.
because he
Yeah,
was not very smart.
No. I mean, breaking ideas to begin with is not very smart. So
Right. But if
it's a
you're going to do it, at
continuation.
least, don't be that bad at it. Like
Yeah.
this was just remarkable. Yeah.
but generally, just don't do it.
Don't
Yeah.
do it. Yeah. It
Don't do
again,
it.
like it's not worth the clicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. Oh man, what a sad situation. But
Speaking of clicks, did any of you play Stacklands?
I played
You
Stacklands.
played Stacklands?
Yes, you were right. I really like Stacklands. It's a
It's so good.
very good game. It's kind of like I don't know if you described it this way, by the way. So if I'm just repeating what you're saying, I apologize in advance.
It's
But
okay. Go for it.
it's a city builder card game.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's basically what it is. Like you get resources, you build buildings, you fend off like hostiles, and you could get more units, and they help you get more resources, and it's just that, but it's done in such an elegant, intuitive way that there are no tutorials really. You just jump in and you're like, oh, cards, what happens if I put this one, like stack this one on the other one? Sometimes nothing, sometimes something, and then eventually it gives you recipes of, oh, if you do these together it'll do a thing, and it just paces them out at such a good pace that it's a fun, relaxed time. There's still tension, like you can't take forever. There's like a hunger, bar that's going down, that like a timeline that forces you to feed your units and whatnot. But it's a good balance of just I'm relaxing and I'm playing this thing and I feel progress happening and I like what I'm building.
Did
I thought it was I love card games to begin with, but I thought this was a really, really good take on the
did
genre.
you did you figure out how to make fruit salad yet?
No, I haven't gotten there yet.
Fruit
Fruit
salad is
salad.
super good.
Yeah. Okay. I'll
If
I'll get there at some point.
what
That's just a
what
fact across the board.
Of course.
that was one of my biggest revelations was fruit salad.
Okay. I'll get there. I'm still exploring,
Right.
discovering new areas, and trying to find new recipes from those new areas.
Yeah.
Each run, I'm actively trying to explore new
Right.
areas as much as possible.
Yeah. Just start throwing cards together every now and then.
Yeah.
Really worth it.
Okay. I'll give it a shot. Thank you for the tip. Fruit salad, huh? I have a whole bunch of fruit. Why didn't I ever try to combine them?
That's one of those things, right? But there's a million things. Like I'm not gonna like spoil too much, but fruit salad is a winner.
Okay. Thank you for that. Now I feel like looking up a whole bunch of things to
No, don't
see.
look them up.
No, discover them. Okay.
Yep, discover them. Like it's more fun to sort of like sparring back and forth. And I'm certain that I haven't seen all cards yet.
Yeah.
And I've been playing for 3 weeks at this point, so
Ah,
there's a lot.
no, I've played for a day, but that day
Right.
I got pretty far. I built a house. I built like a lumber
Oh,
mill. I
nice.
built like I got to the sixth card pack, like on top, the exploration one. So
Oh,
like,
nice. Wow.
yeah, when I started playing, I just kept playing. It was
Yeah,
just
no, that's what happened to
I
me
just
too.
couldn't stop. It was just really, really, really good. So I think I put in like 3 or 4 hours just yesterday, and I just like playing that. It was really good.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm gonna just buy this game right now.
It's
Well,
like $3. It's so cheap.
And you can, it's
and
kind of
bought.
one of those games that you can like play while watching a show.
Yep.
It's not heavy enough that you have to have your full focus on it. So I was like catching up on like She-Hulk and on other things and just like playing that. It was
How,
great.
how did you feel about She-Hulk?
I'm
I
a
watched
huge
it.
fan. It is
Yep. Still right.
still a huge fan. It's completely tonally different than the rest of the MCU. So I absolutely get it if someone's like, this is not for me. It is exactly what I was hoping She Hulk would be because tonally it's the same as she was in the comics, like break the fourth wall. It's very, very humorful, like that kind of thing. I loved it. It's what I wanted, and it's delivering on every front. Like, and it's well written. Like the something like some things that happened in the first episode influence the third episode in ways that were you don't expect, and then do it again in the fourth episode. It's all ties in together. It's not. Yeah, it's so well done. It really
Yeah.
is well done. I'm a big fan.
I watched the first couple of episodes. I'm on board. It's fun.
Yes,
Yeah,
happy to hear that. I would have been
yeah.
totally okay with you saying no, not for me, but I'm happy that you're enjoying it.
No, it's good. I like it. I like the Hulk, so it's like seeing more of the Hulk and like
Yeah,
I never read the She-Hulk comics, but I was aware of it.
yeah,
So it's cool for me to also get to fill in that gap of my pop culture knowledge.
absolutely. She Hulk is my favorite character in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. By the way,
Oh wow.
she was really really good. So fun fact. I played another
Uh,
game if you want to hear about it.
yeah, go for it.
I played a game called Gods Will Fall. Have you heard of
Okay.
it?
Mm,
I actually
sounds
I don't think
familiar.
so.
Yeah. So this is the interesting thing. I hadn't heard of it. It was on Game Pass. I was like, I'm gonna like. I looked at the video. I'm like, oh, this is
Osama's Game
interesting.
Pass plug of the week.
Like
Here
half the
we
games
are
I
again.
play are on
There
Game
we
Pass.
go again.
But normally, like I sample them and I move on, like which is normal, right? I just want to see, oh, is there something there for me, and I move on. This one hooked me for a bit, only for me to be interested with the meta progression. So let me talk about it a little bit and explain that in a sec. So you play as multiple characters. I think there are 10 characters. You move from dungeon to dungeon with all of your characters. Then when you engage in a dungeon, it's like like top like what do you call that view? Like top view but slightly slanted. The
Isometric?
word is isometric,
Isometric.
sorry. My brain kind of skipped that word. So yeah, isometric view. You have basic combat, so there's blocking, there's attacking, and there's like dodging. Nothing too complex. You could jump and attack, and you're fighting enemies in a dungeon until you get to a boss. What's interesting is you get to pick which character you engage with from those 10. They each have a different weapon that plays a little bit differently, and each character has its own progression, so they could level up and get stronger. And if you lose a character in a dungeon, they're not dead, but you can't access them anymore. You're back at the beginning of the dungeon with whoever you have left. If you defeat that boss, only the characters that engaged would get XP and level up. So there's this interesting thing where you're like engaging in a dungeon and you're trying to decide, am I going to go in with my best character so I have a biggest chance of not losing anyone, or do I go in with my worst character to level them up? Like the min
Mm.
maxing in it is kind of broken, because what I landed on is the best way to play is to always play with your weakest character, get to the boss and intentionally lose to it, so that the boss has like, so you get XP along the way, and then when you beat it with your best character, the best character levels up again, and then you recover all your lost characters, but they keep their XP, and then you move on to the next dungeon, which is not, when the game is telling you to play in a way that's not good, when like intentionally losing isn't great. And on top of that, the dungeons themselves, you have no idea if the dungeon that you're entering is beatable or not with the character levels that you have. There's no feedback to that at all. So
It
you
feels
like,
like an exploit rather than it's been done by design.
yes, it feels like they had a really good idea. And I like the idea. Like, you have a lot of characters, you decide which to engage with, and you go deep into it. And I like that. I haven't seen that before where the characters level up independently, but it feels like they needed more time to address these very solvable design issues. Like there are ways to make that work out. Like if you beat it with your first character, give way more XP. So it's not optimal to play with every character. Like there are ways to solve it. You just have to identify the issue. But there's so many issues like that that I actually really enjoyed it as a experiment, if that makes sense. Like I went in, I explored, I started thinking about the dynamics, thinking about how I would fix it, like studying it a bit, because it's kind of a meta progression I haven't seen before.
Mm.
The combat is fun, but it's nothing to write home about. The enemy, sometimes it's finicky. Sometimes it feels like an animation has to wait to finish before you can jump when it really shouldn't. Like one should cancel into the next. So it's not polished or perfect, but it's good enough.
What's
The
the
enemy,
combat like, if you would describe it?
it's like Dark Souls, but isometric.
Okay.
It's like dodge attack, dodge back
Dodge,
attack.
roll, attack,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Very, very like that.
Hmm.
There's a little bit of fuzzy like targeting where it finds the enemy for you, but not like that much. And you could pick up weapons. The weapons you pick up are never as good as the ones that you get by the ones that you get through progression. But you can
Right.
throw those weapons at least, and then you still have the one that you start with, so you're
Hmm.
never weaponless. So like the best thing, the constant loop is pick up weapon, throw it to start the fight, and then start the fight. There are really interesting enemies. I beat one of the bosses, one of the dungeons. Eventually, I found one that I can beat because
So,
which was a challenge in and of itself, just to find a dungeon that you could beat. But like that, those are things that were fixable. I still think it's very interesting. I think a
so,
Gods Will Fall 2 will be really good if they address those
so
issues.
you just kind of like fell off of it because it was kind of uneven.
Yes, exactly. I was like,
Okay.
this could have used a little bit more time in the oven. If it did, I think it would have been a really good game. And I feel like if they spend more time addressing those issues, Gods Will Fall 2 will actually be something good and
That's
special.
already a good name.
Gods Will Fall 2. Yeah.
Gods will fall too.
Two Gods Will 2 Fall, right?
You know
two,
what?
go- two gods will fall. Drinking Arab tea.
Oh, no. But yeah, like I don't know if I would recommend it for fun, but I would actually recommend it for people to study. I might tell my students to play it and try to come up with systems that would fix the issues, or at least
Well, that's smart.
analyze and identify the issues. Yeah, yeah,
It
that was a game.
sounds cool. Well, speaking of Game Pass, I've played another Game Pass game. I don't know if you checked it out. It's called Metal Hellsinger.
Yes,
Hmm.
I did check it out.
You
That
guys
was
been
a
playing this too?
yes, I have.
I gave it like the 20 minutes to confirm that it is indeed good. It is indeed good.
It is indeed very.
It's one of those games like like Doom 2016 style game,
Yeah.
but if you time every shot to the rhythm of a metal song.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what I found myself doing while playing it is I was actually using the rhythm to not like to bop my head to so
Yeah.
that I know when to press the shoot in an easier way. And that by itself, just that movement actually somehow made me enjoy the experience more. I felt like I was more in it. It was more immersive. I don't
Yeah,
know
you
if y'all
can't
did
play
the same.
without headbanging. You gotta be
Right?
headbanging the
Yeah.
entire
Yep.
time as you're
Right?
playing this game.
Hmm.
Yeah. I
I
did the
can't wait
same
for this
thing.
game to come out in VR. It's going to be a mess.
Love it. It was
Oh,
excellent. Like it's one of those games where they knew where to put the money. They knew where to put the
Right.
yeah.
I think one thing Fawzi said that I fully agree with is that it is Doom 2016 and not Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
mhm,
Like it's really that Doom 2016 vibe, like, back at the basics of what that game was. Like
Agreed.
it's
totally.
aggressive, it's fast, it's like it knows what it's doing, it's not trying to be more than that.
Exactly.
Every now and then the narrative is a little narrative, but the game itself is just like it's good.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's
Really
metal.
super
It's in
fun.
your face. Like you move. You use that weapon to the beat, and like you miss the beat, you go, "Darn, I missed that. It's on me." And like, let me headbang more to get back into the rhythm and see if I can get my clicks. Well, in my case, because I'm playing with mouse and keyboard, if I can get my clicking right to match the shots.
Yeah.
And
How does it play on mouse and keyboard?
for me, it plays like I enjoyed it. I tried it a bit on the Game Pass, and I played it mostly on mouse and keyboard. I enjoy it more on the PC.
Oh, okay. I might switch then. I might give it a try. Is it play anywhere? Will my progression just carry over, or do you not know?
I no, I don't know because I have it on Steam.
I see.
I play it on Game Pass. So I don't. I haven't tried the Game Pass on PC connection thing yet.
I'll give it a try. Yeah.
Yeah, so give that a go and let me know if that works. But like I play most, I prefer to play FPS on mouse and keyboard generally.
Generally, yeah. But there's some
Yeah,
that they lend themselves more to gamepad. Like Dying Light is just a better game to play on gamepad. It's more parkour. It's less about aiming. Maybe
true
it's
that.
personal preference, but yeah, there are some that I prefer. And this one, it
Mm.
felt like it was much less about aiming and more about timing, but it's less parkour. So I wasn't sure where it would fit. I
I
only tried
just
it on gamepad.
I can't believe she just came in and named one of my favorite games
Which one?
just out of nowhere. Dying Light. I love Dying
Oh,
Light. The first one.
I downloaded Dying Light 2 and I played it for a bit. I finished the tutorial part and I'm really excited to keep
If you
playing.
haven't played Dying Light 1, I would actually go and recommend you go back and play that.
First or only?
No, just play that one. Dying Light
Really?
2 is it's less focused and that game tried to do a lot, the second one. It tried to do a lot and it just I think Dying Light 1 was better at being the game that it wants to be, which is sort of a game where you're strong during the day and vulnerable during the night.
Mm.
Right. And I think Dying Light 1 really nailed that. And it did some really interesting stuff design wise,
Hmm.
where I think the game very much understands how distance and time are related
Mm.
and how playing with time and with distance and with context shortens all of those.
Hmm.
So when you get to the point where it's like, you want to get from point A to point B and it's in the middle of the day, that's a very different proposition than moving from point A to point B when it's like starting to sunset,
Fair.
which is a very different situation than, it being midnight. And I think what Dying Light really did well was night. It's not like
Mm.
video game night where we just put a blue filter over everything and, that's night. It's like no, it's dark. You don't see anything, and
It's
yeah,
like
the
Left
game
4
is
Dead night, right? Where
yeah,
you
it's
need a
just like
flashlight.
dark,
Or
dark. You
yeah.
can't. Yeah, you have a flashlight, and what isn't in the flashlight, you don't see.
Okay, I'm excited to try it because I think Dying Light was one of those games I bought and never played. Like I think I have 8 minutes on it because I loaded the menu and shut it down or something.
It is
So
surprisingly good.
I
okay, I
like
mean,
the first one a lot in multiplayer as well. So
Yep.
I think
okay.
if you get the chance to play it with a friend,
Mm.
it's I think it enhances the experience quite a bit.
Okay.
We
Thank
had
you.
a
Oh,
crew. I think I played that when I was still living in Japan. I think, and we had a crew. We were like playing Dying Light every evening. I think it was three of us, and it was a lot of fun. And like especially at the nighttime when it's terrifying, it's
yeah.
kind of great to have a bunch of other people like parkouring around trying to help you out and trying to follow them into safety.
I'm a huge Left 4 Dead fan. I know it's not the same, but it's similar. And
Mm.
I spent like maybe 1,000 hours with all the Left 4 Deads combined, like across all platforms. So it wouldn't
Mm.
take a lot to convince me to play Dying Light. I just need to find a crew. So let's look for a crew. Maybe the Habibis Discord will help me find a crew. What do
I
you think?
think you will find a bunch for sure.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a fun game to play for sure.
That's awesome. Were we done with Metal Hellsinger? I kind of like moved into Dying Light, but I think so, right? We said it was a good game. It was a lot of fun, well executed, good production value for
Yeah, I
Uh,
think. I mean, there's not much more to say about it. Like, it's a hard metal inspired shooter
yeah.
that manages to be exactly that. It doesn't get stuck in making the music so important that the game isn't good. It doesn't get stuck in making the game so important that the music doesn't matter. Like to do the game they did, they had to walk a really fine balance, and there's actually a lot of like really cool like game development nuance in how they pulled it off.
Hmm.
And it's a joy. It's a joy to play. It's a joy to look at. It's a joy to listen to. It's a joy to analyze. I'm just I played long enough to go like, yep, I need more time with this, and then I had to travel, so I didn't. But it's just good.
That's
Man,
great.
I like that, the more you do better to the audio, everything gets better. Like the more you're on the rhythm, the more powerful your shots are, the more like the game and the music gets more intense.
It
Like
actually
everything,
only starts singing if you get a combo counter of 16, or
right?
16 times, which is the first time I heard that. I'm like, that's such a cool concept because you don't even need to look at the UI. You just hear singing and you're like, I'm pumped now. Like,
Yeah.
I did well. It's so well
The
done.
layering of the music like intensifies more and more the better you do. So it's just such a cool mechanic, like adding that audio to that way, and like from a vision point of view, having everything central on that core theme of like this is a metal game, everything has to be metal,
Yeah,
from a
yeah.
gameplay to the soundtrack to the art direction.
And it also
Yeah.
shows that there are many ways to accomplish that because, like, Brutal Legend was also this is a metal game and everything has to be metal, but like the way they did it was very different. It had a very different feel. So there's a
Yeah.
multiple ways to accomplish the same thing, and still that seed can still create multiple different games.
Yeah.
I feel like there's been a lot of attempts at making a game that mixes with metal. And when it
Hmm.
comes to first person shooters, I think this is the one that really got it right.
This is
Like
the best one. I
this
agree.
is a metal shooter. Like
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. Doom 2016 had a pretty awesome metal soundtrack.
mhm.
This one dethrones it as the metal game for sure.
Yep.
Rami, did you play anything?
I let me see. I played Splatoon.
Oh,
The new
Splatoon 3.
Splatoon 3. I haven't checked
Yep.
that out yet.
Me
How
either.
is it?
So here's the thing. I haven't had time to play multiplayer.
Mhm.
So I've only played the single player.
Oh, is it good?
And this is by far the best Splatoon campaign I've ever played. It
Oh.
is super diverse. All the stuff you can do is like super different. They're using all the mechanics in fun ways. I've been Spider-Man. I've been dodging, like I've been dancing around, like dodging like shock waves. I've been like
What do you mean you were Spider
covering
Man?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out. Like, not
ba-
literally.
no, basically I had like a thing that swung me around the level, and like,
Oh,
every campaign level is sort of like a mini challenge, and the challenges are just like super super different and diverse. And I know it's not, when you describe it like that, it doesn't sound that different, but like they really did well with these. So
Hmm.
just having a blast in, playing. And I just downloaded a bunch of games onto my Switch, to be fair, because I was traveling again. So I also downloaded Mixolumia. I don't know if you've played Mixolumia.
No idea what that is.
yeah, no
It's
idea.
kind of like an indie Tetris. You might remember it from this person on Twitter who just tweeted their first screenshot of a prototype and then updated that thread for several years until they finished the game.
That
It's
sounds
actually fun
familiar. What's it called
because kind
again?
of like it's called Mixolumia.
Yeah, it
And
looks like Tetris. It looks
yeah,
like Puyo Puyo. It's in a
a little bit of
diamond.
all of it. A little bit of
Oh, I
all of
do
that.
remember this thread, and it
And
changed a lot.
yeah,
I remember this thread. I never played the game. I only remember the thread.
it's good. It's good.
Wait,
It's just,
isn't this on the
very
play
similar.
date?
No, I don't think so. It might be,
No.
but I don't remember. Similar
Mm.
to Metal Hellsinger, everything gets better as you play better. Music, visuals, everything. So it's basically the same as Metal Hellsinger.
Hmm. Yeah, it looks the same. Screenshots, I
Yeah,
can't tell them
yeah,
apart.
pretty much identical. I tried to play a little bit more if We Are
It is on the
OFK.
Playdate. I looked it up.
Oh wow,
Yeah, I remember
Mixolamia on
seeing it
Playdate.
in black and white more than the colored ones.
right.
Yeah,
Okay, that's cool. I haven't
yeah.
played it. I haven't booted it up in quite a while. I played a little bit more of We Are OFK. One more episode. It's the kind of game where I look at it and I'm like, wow, this is really cool that somebody made this. Right? It's incredibly well done. It's incredibly well executed. The music is really really good.
I missed that. What is it again, Rami?
It's called We Are OFK.
Ah, we are okay. Yes, you mentioned
And
that once.
yeah, I'm still not really vibing with the characters or story, but I just love that it is made, right?
Mm.
I reinstalled Yoku's Island Express, which if you've never played that, you really got to play Yoku's Island Express. It's a pinball roguelike, which
Yoku's Island Express. I'm
I'm
looking
looking
it
it
up.
up. That's
yeah,
a
Yeah.
lot of new games I've never heard of, Remy, all in one shot.
Yeah.
I basically just re-downloaded a bunch of stuff that I used to like and haven't played for a while. So Mixolumia, Yoku's, Dicey, and Dicey Dungeons, which is the last one. If you haven't played Dicey Dungeons, that too, absolute recommendation.
I think
Dicey
I've
Dungeons,
seen.
I love.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dicey
it's so
Dungeons is
good.
really good.
That's
I
on the
think
Game Pass, so somebody must have played it.
yes, I have played it, and I played it on Steam and Game Pass, and I only think I got halfway through the game on either both because I started it over. But it's one of those games you could jump in and just play a few rounds each time, so you just make a little bit of progress. Yoku's I've seen, I've never played.
It's very good.
It's a pinball game. I would never have imagined. I thought it was like
A
ukulele or
Worms
something.
like game.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't even know that. Like
It's like
I'm
a platformer pinball game.
such a cool idea.
Hmm.
It's really cool. It's a platformer where you can change into pinball.
Huh.
Very
I
cool.
own it. I've never played it. 0 minutes of gameplay, but I own it. I'm gonna play this. I'm
You
gonna give
should
it a
you should
shot.
give it a go. But like Mixolumia really worthwhile, Yoku's really worthwhile. Dicey Dungeons, it's on Switch now. Just, good stuff. Beyond that, haven't really played much. I say after listing like 5 games. But I played each of these like really short or they're like games I'm returning to. I spent most of my week working on my newsletter thing, which is new to me. I've never done like a newsletter properly, so I've just been messing around, reading up on it. I don't know. I really like when you're bad at something and it, it's nice because you don't have to be good at it because nobody cares.
Mm.
And
What did
then
you fix?
so basically a lot of like the sign up flow and sort of like the way I structure like my writing and making sure I have enough content into the future and redid the design of the page, upgraded the theme, like just
Nice.
a lot of stuff that I normally would have never done if not for this like project. But also like, it's like reaching 5,000 subscribers now, which is just
Wild.
huge.
Wow, that's amazing.
So it's the kind of thing where you're like, okay, you know what? I should put more effort into this because a lot of people are like following this for like the sort of like game design and game development like tips and tricks. And I started the project because COVID happened and I couldn't travel anymore and I couldn't reach out to people and have people that don't know me
Mm-hmm.
learn from the things I say or do or like might have come across, and they don't have to agree with me, right? Just hearing a perspective sometimes is good enough to be helpful. So I started my consultancy and I started the newsletter because I got the same questions over and over at the consultancy. So like there has to be a better way of doing this.
Mhm.
But now
You're
it's just
writing
kind of
yourself out of business.
right. Well, that's ultimately that's the goal, right? The goal of helping people is always to become obsolete.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. So they
That's
don't
when
need
you've
you anymore.
succeeded. Yeah,
Exactly.
like that's where I'm trying to go is like that nobody needs things like this anymore. And I'm working on like putting a policy on the website that allows people to repost it as long as they link back, but not use it in books or other things, and to translate it onto blogs. So, like all of these kind of things where you're just like, oh yeah, I should do that. Oh, I should make it more accessible. Oh, I should make it more available. I keep getting requests whether I want to read the post so people who don't want to read can like listen to it. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
can I do that? Is there a way to automate that? I don't have time to do more. So I don't know. I'm just looking at all these options. It's really fun. It's a fun project.
Yeah, I'm really happy like that you're doing it. It's really important. You're getting a lot of good feedback about it. About the could you make people listen to it? I'm sure. I mean, is it a lot of effort to just read it out loud and record that? Because then after that, it's like
If
you
I was
do.
any good at like reading things, yeah,
Yeah,
but I'm a really good public speaker because I don't have to read things.
yeah. That's actually fair, and that that checks with me as well. Like, when I read things, I have a hard time making it sound natural. So I get that. I think I answered my own question before you even said it. But maybe you could team up with somebody who can
Maybe,
read.
and maybe that's the solution, right? Like find somebody who can do that. But yeah, no, it's been fun.
That's cool. You just reminded me I've never subscribed to it. I should subscribe to
You
it.
should subscribe to it. You should subscribe.
1001.
Yeah. 5001.
But
I
Fawzi's
should
worth 1,000, so there you go.
Oh.
I should create a
6,000.
Habibis discount so that people who want to subscribe and like pay can do a discounted payment.
That works.
But
Habibi
it is
discount,
it
I
is
like
free,
that.
right? Like that's an important part to it for me. Is like the whole idea of it is that it's free, and if you want to support it, you can like pay a monthly like amount. But the core thing is free, which I think is important.
Yeah, it is absolutely.
What do you
Nice
think?
one.
Okay, you two, like, what do you think? Should I just make it like effectively pay what you want? Because right now I have like a payment where it's like $8 a month for people who can't afford it, then $4 a month for people from emerging territories or marginalized or underrepresented identities, and then free. Should I just like
Yeah.
put like $1, $3, $8, and just let people pick?
Why not just keep it open? Like whatever
Yeah.
you
I
can.
can't do that in the software that I'm using. I tried.
So you should have 1,000 different entries for each dollar point until $1,000.
I'm crying already.
The brute force
Yeah,
method.
the most brute force way of doing pay what you want. Offer 1,000 options.
1,000 options.
I know. It's something I'm thinking.
And list them in a random order. So
Oh my god. Oh my
don't
god.
make it searchable. Perfect.
Do you remember that project? I don't know. It was like 6 or 7 years ago, maybe, where it was basically they explained how the Windows API for the volume control worked,
Oh.
and then they said, "Okay, now make the worst possible interface to set the volume."
I think I've heard of this.
And it was so good. There was like people who just had like a randomized volume button. That's what made me think of it. Is like the only way you could set the volume is just keep clicking like pick a new volume, and it would just go like 99, 2, 84, 12. It was just super good.
I love it.
There was one where you had to use like binary checkboxes. So it was like the first one was for 1, the second one was worth 2, 4, 8, 16, and to set the volume, you had to set the appropriate checkboxes.
Wow. That's
Like
awful.
all sorts of stuff. There was like a one where you had to play like slot machines. So
I'm not sure which one of those is worse, but it's hilarious just to see.
One of my
all-
favorite ones was one that was controlled by your microphone. But it meant that if you
Blow
set the
it to the
volume
mic.
really loud, it was impossible to get it back down because now the sound coming from your computer was so loud. Just made me very happy.
Oh, that's funny.
Anyway, I think that's good enough for this episode.
Maybe
Time to
even
dial
too
this
good.
episode down.
Oh
Time-
no!
Oh, yeah, you started with die, and I was like, that's not how you say doilies. I was very confused.
I was thinking about the APIs, and there's a dial.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah.
We should make
I
a
like
doily
it.
API. That's what we need.
Doily API.
Anyway, that was another episode of the Habibis. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. If you want to send some emails and make Osama really happy, you can always do that.
Yes.
info@thehabibis.com. Sorry you didn't get to emails this episode. Over at the Discord, you can find us, discord.thehabibis.com. That's right. Yeah, discord.habibis.com. And
That's right.
obviously, like, wherever you are, subscribe to the podcast, whatever podcasting service thing. Basically, like and subscribe. You can't like, just subscribe. Thanks so much.
It's really going off script today. I'm loving it.
Thanks so much for tuning in. This was another episode of the Habibis. New episode next Friday, inshallah. And for now, salam.
Salam.
Arab salam.
What?
It's like a salam, but with
Oh
Arab.
my
before.
god! Oh,
He wanted to add it from the
throwback.
beginning.
I'm
That's
just gonna
the
play
third
the outro.
salam. The third Arab.
Salam.
Salam.
That was the Habibis podcast for this week. I was Rami Ismail, your host for this episode. You can find me on Twitter at @THA_Rami. My fellow Habibis were Osama Dorias, who you can find on Twitter at Osama Dorias, and Fawzi Mesmar, who you can find on Twitter at Fawzi Mesmar. Send us your questions, stories, and suggestions via info@thehabibis.com. The intro and outro music was provided by Malik Zubaida, and the logo was provided by Ibrahim Hamdi. The Habibis is a weekly podcast about 3 game developers drinking good Arab tea, with new episodes launching every Friday, inshallah. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcasting service or check out thehabibis.com for more information. Thank you for listening, and salam.